So, compromise NPM package silently installs OpenClaw on developers' machines. There we go. Two technologies Uncle Steph loves: NPM and OpenClaw. Not true. I never went into NPM. I never liked that because I thought it was too brittle for my taste. But that's just me. So let's just read this and I'll give you my 2 cents. Some nerd training here. While AI itself wasn't weaponized, the technique raises concerns about AI agents with broad system access. A new security bypass has users installing AI agent OpenClaw, whether they intended to or not. Researchers have discovered that a compromised NPM publish token pushed an update for the widely used client command line interface, CLI, containing a malicious post-install script. That script installs a wildly popular but increasingly condemned agentic application, OpenClaw, on the unsuspecting user's machine. This can be extremely dangerous as OpenClaw has broad system access and deep integrations with messaging platforms, including WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, Discord, iMessage, Teams, and others. According to research by security platform Socket, the script was live for 8 hours on the registry. It should be emphasized that in this case, OpenClaw wasn't inherently malicious, does represent yet another chapter in OpenClaw's shaky security saga, and situations like this could earn its potentially unwanted application status. So, I mean, they effectively turned OpenClaw into malware that the EDR, endpoint detection and response, isn't going to stop, said David Shipley, Buursaran Security. So OpenClaw, formerly Clawbot, Moltbot, is a free open source autonomous AI agent that launched January 29th, very recently, and almost immediately went viral. According to its developers, Peter Steinberg, the repo has more than 2 million visits, over 720,000 downloads. OpenClaw basically runs, well, not basically, OpenClaw runs locally on a user's hardware rather than in the cloud and can perform autonomous real-world actions on their behalf, such as reading emails, browsing web pages, running apps, or managing calendars. Be careful about that because it can also open you up to using lots of cloud tokens. So my friend was working with it. He's not a tech guy, but he was using it to try to automate processes for his business. And he's been, in the first few days, he's very impressed with it. But he was spending like, I think, $50 a day on tokens, which isn't much, but still. So you got to watch your token use when you're working with any AI. This stuff can add up quickly. In fact, I have a friend of mine who has a startup. He just got his first round of funding where they, their startup, they have software that allow you to optimize your token use when you're using your models. However, almost immediately after release, it had serious security concerns. It's prone to prompt injection attacks, authentication bypasses, server-side request forgeries, among other attacks. Many enterprises have responded by severely restricting or outright banning OpenClaw. While in the client situation, it was merely installed but not inherently malicious, the attacker had the ability to install anything. Anyway, when we're looking at NPM in general, I made a decision a long time ago not to get into the JavaScript ecosystem. Of course, we do web apps, so you have to use JavaScript, simply because I found NPM to be a little bit too brittle for my taste. You install a package, and then it has dependency on other packages. The next thing you know, somebody rewrites something or changes something, and it breaks your app, and you're knocking your head against the wall trying to figure out, why isn't my thing no longer working? You find out a sub-package of a sub-package that you've leveraged for your application is broken. Anyway, I don't like brittleness that way. That's just me. The client CLI is widely used across the developer ecosystem with about 90,000 weekly downloads from NPM. The compromised token push client 2.30, which contained a modified package.json with a post-install script that installed the latest version of OpenClaw to the NPM registry. The addition of the script was the only modification to the package. Otherwise, the CLI binary and other contents were identical to the legitimate prior release. Gooding noted, making it an easy miss. The compromise package was pushed on February 17th, although the underlying problem has been discovered 6 weeks prior by security researcher Mr. Khan here. Khan! The package sat live on the registry for an estimated 8 hours before it was deprecated, and the client published a corrected 2.4 version. And we got to be careful with any of these open source projects here. You see the address here, that's the URL for this particular article, so you can go read it, the whole thing. Anyway, ultimately, this is a no-win scenario, Shipley noted, because particularly if any organization was so foolish as to have allowed OpenClaw into their enterprise environment and build business-reliant work processes with it. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with technology that you use. I have a friend of mine, again, I mentioned before, who was spending about $50 a day on tokens. And so he installed, like so many other people, he installed a Mac Mini, bought a Mac Mini. So, and it's just clean, doesn't have any of his personal or business information on there. And he's using it. But the problem is he's using it to do some, some key business practices now, not knowing what's going on. Now, even let's assume OpenClaw or whatever, what's it called now? It's called OpenClaw. It keeps changing its name. I think it's OpenClaw, yeah. So even if OpenClaw has no malicious code, you get a version of it, has nothing malicious in there, no security issues in there, that explicitly has been implemented by some nefarious actor, you still got problems because AI makes mistakes. Like the whole notion that AI is going to replace developers and all the jobs are going to disappear is just nonsense because this AI in some areas is fantastic. It'll take 10 hours of work and make it like, 10 minutes. In other areas, it will go into the AI hallucinatory doom loop. And next thing you know, something that should take you 10 minutes, you're at it for 40 minutes. It's strange. It's just like AI is directionally very good. Directionally very good. It's very good at certain things. So you have to learn to use the models effectively. In other areas, not so good. The more specificity you try to get the AI to implement on, a lot of times can get you into trouble. Even simple things. Like it will make all these mistakes. Like sometimes I use AI as an example outside of coding space. I use it to, ask. I say, I'm in my camera here. I got many cameras, so I'm in the camera here, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this. How do you do it? And it will tell you generally yes or no. Most of the time, it gets that right, but sometimes, but in terms of detail, okay, what sub menu it will always give me hallucinations, like almost always when you're trying to ask it to go into a sub menu, right? It should be something simple, you'd think. So be careful. Again, I'm a big proponent of AI. The fact that it has these weaknesses, the fact that OpenClaw and NPM can do these things, proves to me that developers are going nowhere, right? But people who leverage this technology, developers who leverage all this this stack of AI tools like OpenClaw and many others, they have a huge opportunity, massive opportunity. And I'll leave you with this. Good news is that I believe, based on my 30 years of experience in the game, this is the best opportunity for developers, this whole AI thing. This is the best opportunity for developers I have seen since the web, the inception of the web. It is that big if you do the new stuff. Now, if you look back, if you're thinking about what was popular 5 years ago, you're going to have problems unless you're already experienced. But for a junior nerdling, somebody wants to get into the industry, the hack, if you will, is to go where the demand is high relative to the supply. What does that mean? Developers who understand their fundamentals well, who understand the AI stacks well, and knows how to implement these things properly. Anyway, more on that later. That's why my whole mentoring program, although you do learn 6 coding languages, but you learn enough to be functional and get what I call the nerd eyes so that you can navigate this whole new world. So modern developers in 2026 and 2027 moving forward are going to be people who understand the fundamentals well. You understand basic fundamental language constructs. You understand server-side versus client-side development and design patterns and what clean code looks like and so on. That's it. Then you got to get into the AI stacks. Then you got to understand the large language models, the agentic models. Not all of them, but you understand what they do. So again, you can assess things with an educated eye. And finally, you should understand deployment models, cloud, et cetera. And you should understand um, the low code and the no code tool sets that are out there. Yeah, there you go. And they throw in some databases. So yeah, the code hackers and tinkers, that skill set, especially for juniors, is diminishing. But the opportunity is in the things I just talked about, and it's very complex.